again, you can go to bacteria, if you don't mind a really humble example, where they have numerous mechanisms for adding genetic material to them, in part because they have very spare genomes, typically, that are stripped down for other reasons. So, for example, bacteria can acquire genes by eating them, literally. I mean, by consuming them, ingesting them, I should say, from the rest of the environment and incorporating them into it. So, yes, if you want an example, that's an example.
Okay, I think that's a classic example of the best they've got for evidence for evolution. But notice this gene already existed in some other organism. The bacteria ingested it and incorporated it. There are creatures in the sea that will eat poisonous animals and ingest their poison glands and put them into their own skin. Okay, there are numerous examples of that. That's not an example of evolution by adding, by a mutation causing increased genetic complexity. This is an animal ingesting already complex information that another animal had. And I don't know if he saw the fallacy of his argument, but anybody else see that? That's a very fallacious argument. Thank you.
Dr. Rowan, this is for you. How do you account for the similarities between humans and apes?
Well, I think, first of all, I would say that the differences between humans and apes are enormous, okay? The similarities are because we have similar duties to perform in life. We have to walk, move around, find our food, etc. I think any similarities between organisms of any kind could easily be characterized as evidence of a common designer. As I mentioned, Toyotas and Hondas have many similarities. So what? That proves to have is a design that works. You know, 4 wheels on the ground and a steering wheel and some mechanism, something to sit on. That's all the design is necessary to work. So I think if we look at similarities between humans and chimps and conclude there's a common designer, that's just as logical as concluding there's a common ancestor. I think even more logical that there must have been a designer. I would point out that there are 26 basic letters of the alphabet. We can go around the corner to the library here and find that probably every one of those books in there is built on that same code, 26 letters. If the dictionary has the same 26 letters as the Encyclopedia Volume S does, that doesn't prove one evolved from the other, or they both came from an explosion in a print shop. That proves that's the code with which you write English. So there are 20 amino acids. All animals have these 20 amino acids in the proteins. That doesn't prove any relationship. That's the code with which you make proteins. And it has to be that way, so the brown cow can eat the green grass and give the white milk and make the yellow butter, and I eat it and get the blonde hair. If it weren't for all similar proteins and similar amino acids, we could only digest and eat each other. And God made it so that animals, you can eat a variety of things. So the similarities proves a common designer who was really thinking ahead.
Well, I have nothing to say about those latest diffusions from Dr. Hovind. I would tend to interpret the similarities on evolutionary grounds, common descent, etc., and would back it up with a voluminous fossil record. But there's no question that you can easily entertain the hypothesis that a creator decided to create a group of organisms along a very similar body plan with almost all the same genes for whatever purpose he or she had in mind. There's no way you can disprove it. If you isolate individual facts like that and want to treat them as determinant on creation or and recent creation or evolution, then they're all not going to be determinative. We deal, as scientists, much more with the preponderance of evidence, in this case, the vast preponderance of evidence.
Okay, Dr. Jarvis, why doesn't the geologic column appear anywhere in the world in the proper order?
I don't know what that question means exactly. And I don't know what the right order means or anything, so I'm not going to beg out of that one.
The geologic column is a hoax. It doesn't exist any place on planet Earth except in the textbooks and in the imagination of those who believe in it. I taught earth science for 15 years. It's true there are many layers to the strata. That's not a question. That's quite obvious. Okay, I've been to all 49 states. I've been to all 50 states in many countries. There's no question there are layers to the strata. The question is, does it mean something? It could mean hydrologic sorting, that if you shake a jar of dirt with water, it'll settle into layers in a few seconds. You go to the mall and buy those things with all the different colored sand in there, and flip it over, and it settles into layers in a flash. It just takes a few seconds. Hydrologic sorting is a well-known phenomenon, well studied, and you don't need to rely on evolution is an answer. I think the biblical flood, the year-long flood, is the best explanation for this. All over the world, layers of rock are certainly found. There's no question about that. But the question is, if they're different ages, then I would ask, why aren't there erosion marks between these layers? There are no erosion marks, there are no fossil canyons. The fact of the matter is, it's not a geologic column, it's a bunch of layers of different rocks on top of each other. And you can get the same effect in a few minutes with a jar of dirt and some water. Just shake it up and it's sorted into particles for you. All over the world, petrified trees are found standing up in the vertical position connecting these layers. So when the textbook says the layers are different ages, I think that is obviously not common sense. In a court of law, it can be proven wrong very quickly. In many states and many countries, I got dozens of these pictures on my website, petrified trees standing up, connecting layers that the evolutionists say are different ages. I don't know how long it takes for a dead tree to fall down around New Jersey, but I know in Florida you get 3 to 10 years and it's going to fall over. It's not logical to say those layers are millions of years different in age when we have petrified trees by the hundreds out in the vertical position. And we have lots on that on my website, hunterdino.com. Thank you.
We have one last round because we have one last round of questions. I find that I try to give direct answers to questions, and we get a whole essay on other topics and so on, and a whole set of new misrepresentations, including these fossil trees, which were explained 150 years ago and are well known. Go ahead.
We have one question for Dr. Hogan that goes along with the question that you just had, and then we have one other set of questions. Is that okay?
I got all mine.
Is to be truly unbiased scientists, should we be teaching intelligent design in the textbooks along with the theory of evolution?
To be truly unbiased, the question is, should we be teaching intelligent design along with evolution? I guess to be truly unbiased, we should be willing to question, should we even have a public school system? We should back up a few steps. If we're going to have a public school system supported by the tax dollars, then should we get into origins at all? Because no matter what you talk about in origins, if you talk about creation or evolution or intelligent design or any other flavors in between, you're going to offend somebody. It is not possible to discuss the subject of origins without getting somebody upset. So I would question, we probably shouldn't even have public schools, but if we have them, they shouldn't get into origins at all. I'm not one of those that advocates teaching creation in public schools. There are those who do, I understand. I am one of those who advocates we should teach science in science class. And we should not allow people to use lies to support their theory. If you believe we came from an ape, that's fine. Don't lie to the kids to tell them we've got evidence. Don't tell them about the gill slits or the tailbone or these things that I proved on my video number 4. Just don't lie to the kids. Show the evidence, and if you don't have evidence for theory, I'm sorry, get a new theory. That's how science works. And there's no evidence for evolution but lies. So I'm an advocate of not teaching lies to the kids. As far as intelligent design, I think if all schools were private schools and every religion had their own, that the Jews could teach what they believe, and the Christians what they believe, and the atheists what they believe, that'd be fine. I think that's about the only way we can solve this problem.
Again, I'm going to keep my comment very short. I hope we can get 2 short more questions and be done here. I've got a light to leave. And I don't know what to say about that. I mean, what was all that stuff? Should we have public schools? Well, he didn't quite answer the question. He said,